Hi friends, today I am going to talk to you about the book that has brought about the maximum change in my life. I mean, this book really influenced the core of me. I have read this book many a times, very honestly, and the first time I read, I found it interesting. The second, third time, and then slowly, I started believing and feeling in what it was saying, and that brought further change. If you really want to change your life, you should read this book. Okay, I strongly recommend it as a major game changer in your life. Without further ado, let me tell you one of the most best-selling books of modern times, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. The fact of life is that, does it say something new? Not necessarily. First and foremost, as I was saying in briefly hinting in one of my earlier blogs, and this, when I read the Upanishads and when I read one of the most famous lines of the Upanishads called Aham Brahmasmi, it immediately struck me that that line is so profound that it says everything that is said later on in the Secret and all. Why? It says, I am Brahma, Brahman. If I am the creator and the creation, then I am divine. If I am divine, then I am the creator too, right? Because the creator and the creation are linked together. That is the concept of Advaita philosophy in Hinduism. If you, I mean, I will not just stop at the Upanishads. Any degree of Advaita philosophy in India, think about it. If what it says is that the creator and the creation are one. The moment you say that, it means the creation, that is you, are also the creator. And if you are the creator, you are not a dumb man sitting based on destiny given to you. You are co-creating that destiny. That is what Advaita is. Versus Dvaita, which says that you are separate, God is separate. So, of course, I immediately recognized that in much simpler, profound words, Advaita philosophy and the Upanishads have said all there is to say. Having said that, please understand that the books that we read, like the Upanishads and the Advaita philosophy, they were meant for a chosen few intelligent people, that the way it was there in those times, right? And knowledge was for them, and the living Guru explained it to them, the various interpretations of it and the meanings of it. And the higher profound knowledge was for the people who could digest that. Today we live in a global environment. We live in a internet age. Therefore, knowledge is percolating to everybody. So the secret makes no bones about the fact that it's not the first book to have discovered. That's why it's called The Secret. It doesn't say that Rhonda Byrne is revealing anything to you. It starts off by saying Rhonda Byrne happened to chance about on some old books, and this knowledge must have percolated from India to many other places in the world, like the West. But what it does is, it takes even today's new age philosophers, okay, like Bob Proctor and all, and makes it easy, simplified for the common man. You see, I today use the logic on Aham Brahmasmi, but this phrase has been there with most Indians. Most Indians have heard this, but very few of us have taken it to its natural conclusion, as per me. So the secret simplifies and tells you what is important for you to understand, to influence your life. It's not a game of elucidation. It's not a competition of how profundity is produced or given or shared. It is simply about giving you what you need to understand. There are a lot of people who stood up and said, "What rubbish! When things happen to us, are you saying we create it?" I know, and it goes in the face of also certain traditionalists who talk about that. No, 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 you can't influence your destiny. All I suggest is read The Secret with an open mind, understand it, absorb it. If you have doubts, go back to your original texts and see if it doesn't also derive its understanding from them, and then try to implement it in your life. Doing it in this manner and not reading it purely as an intellectual book changed my life. After that, I read all of Rhonda Byrne, The Magic, The Power, and I would love to have a series purely on this part, the law of attraction. If you ask me a point blank question, do you think the law of attraction works? My answer would be definitely yes. There are many questions that would rise out of it. People would say, how is that possible? What about this? What about that? The only way it can be answered is if you try to influence it on yourself. And if you try to ask yourself, if you are a part of a magical divine, wouldn't a little bit of that divinity be within you only? Are you a machine having been sent with a blueprint from top with instructions to execute in this world and events that will happen to you as part of destiny? Or, as Aham Brahmasmi implies, you are part of the magical divine? That is the question. Are you more than a sum of bag of bones? Are you much more than your brain can fathom? Is the world around you being influenced by you? I could add on a lot of scientific research, quantum physics, quantum entanglement, the double slit experiment. But that's not the scope of this talk. Though, if it was not about this book, I would probably have taken up a separate series on this. If you are interested, check out on quantum physics. Quantum physics validates so many of these theorems at a quantum level. Now, the point is, at quantum level, you can experiment. At a social level, at your own life's level, there is no scientific experiment you can do. But what you can do is try to experiment yourself. Because this is the most fundamental question you can ask yourself in life. Do you, like The Secret implies, have some degree of control through your thoughts on your life? Maybe it's not 100%. Maybe some things are destined to happen to you. Maybe some things are happening because of other people's actions. But is there an element of control through thoughts? That is what The Secret tells you. You would do well to examine it. You would do well to explore this unbelievably exciting aspect of life. That is the secret to you. I know I am touching up a book which is already a bestseller. I am very, very, very sure most of you have heard of it. Many of you may have read it. But I have tried to add what it gave to me and how I read it in conjunction with other books that I have read. How I placed it in my understanding of religious literature that I have read in the context of the Upanishads, in the context of Advaita, and how I understood that what is being told is not some fancy mumbo jumbo that is coming from somebody in the West, but something which is being just explained in a simplified manner, which has been there and known to the sages all along. If you see it in this manner, many of your ancient stories would make a lot of sense to you. I leave it at that. But I would really appreciate if anyone whose life has been changed by The Secret, any of Rhonda Byrne's books, or any of this, what do you call, Alan Watts, Bob Proctor, Neville Goodman, Napoleon Hill, all of this genre of Western authors and writers who have influenced you. I would love to know if you too have had experiences specifically which have made you feel that what is being told here is definitely partially, if not completely true. And that is what is the most exciting aspect, when what you read connects back to what you experience and you are able to say that this does work. That is why this book did not just give me knowledge, and that's why I regard it so highly. It gave me a certain value system, a value system I could not ignore. When I first read it, when I read it again, and when I read it multiple times, and now it's a different genre. I mean, I go back to it whenever, and I, I'm again back in a soul searching mode. So you can be rest assured, I did not, unlike the other books in my series, I did not go back to it once. I may have gone back to it multiple times, because I always go back to it whenever self doubt comes to my mind, because at least a half a dozen times of reading it, I still had doubts in it. But today I know that something definitely exists which we do not have a finger to. Thank you.